Broadcasting stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch. Yeah, and I said, does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care? If so, I can't imagine why. We've all got time.
The last three teams go today at SEC Media Days, and Brett Norsworthy, co-host of Sports Time on Sports 56, will join us momentarily here from SEC Media Days. No Dave today. He is out. He'll be back on Monday. But myself, Jay Morgan Harder, and Brian Takis, the co-host with Brett on Sports Time, is sitting in with me. So we'll have a little bit of Wolo and Friends presents the Sports Time with on Sports Video. See, I got tongue twisted. Let me try it again. Wolo and Friends presents Sports Time on Sports 56 presents Brett Norsworthy live from SEC Media Days. How about that? That's what we're doing today. Second day in a row here. So we got that going on today. We got the Open Championship going on today. Started early in amateur, Brian. Your favorite type of golfer on the first day of the tournament. Christo Lamprecht, 5 under par. Tommy Fleetwood ended up chasing him with the second group and also finished 5 under today.
I almost picked Tommy Fleetwood with my shock pick yesterday.
Stu Cink tied for third there with Wyndham Clark as well. So some good
Stu.
names. Matthew Jordan, who we told you to bet on in the top 40 yesterday, because this course is what for Matthew Jordan, Brian?
His home course.
It's his home course, and he had a 2 under 69 today, tied for 6th. So good deal on that. Alexander Bjork, who we also had a bet on to be the top Swede, he's 2 under after 13 as well. So if you listened to our handicapping yesterday, hopefully you were sitting pretty as it stands right now. Also, like I said, in addition to the SC Media Days and the Open Championship happening today, we got baseball going on today. A lot of day baseball today. Not a ton of games, but pretty much a full 7-game slate of day baseball that
and then
starts.
Only about 2 or 3 if you want to count that 5:30 as a night game. Only 3 night games.
That's right, but one of them is the St. Louis Cardinals against the Chicago Cubs, which I think a lot of people in this market and just a lot of baseball fans in general would be interested in, but certainly fans of this market. So this market's really served well with the Braves playing the D-backs and the Reds playing the Giants at 11:30 here, and then if you watch all that day baseball, you get the Cardinals and Cubs tonight. So it should be pretty good. With some baseball day, and we'll have bets for that as well, going through the whole slate here at this point, and we'll go through kind of talking out our bets here, which we like to do. Hopefully we can give you some statistics that can help you make some money, or just good things to follow when you're watching the game. You know, we're not telling you have to bet,
but giving you I don't even want to say advice.
Well,
we're just telling you some things.
Just angle to look at these games through a prism, for instance, to look at these games through and tracking these games. Just a good way to follow the sport of baseball as well. Some quick baseball nuggets before we get to Brett Norsworthy, who I'm sure is standing by already. He's been very diligent. It's Ole Miss Day, though, for Brett. 3 teams today, Bryant. Ole Miss,
3 good teams today.
Ole Miss, Tennessee, and South Carolina, right? Some good players coming through today and some good coaches, including Omari Thomas, Big O from Briarcrest. Spencer Rattler, not from Memphis, but a big name that people know. Yeah. And then Heisman favorite, Quinshon Judkins?
Maybe SEC Heisman favorite.
Because Caleb Williams is probably the Heisman favorite. But Quinshon Judkins has as good a chance as anybody, you would think, for that as well. But a couple of baseball nuggets before we get started here. The Yankees were swept, Brian.
It's crazy.
They were swept by the Los Angeles Angels over there in Los Angeles. But you know where those games took place?
In Los Angeles.
Took place in Los Angeles. And what do we know about the Yankees?
That without Aaron Judge, you can't trust them on the road.
Why? What? They
don't hit the ball on the road.
But what made us what was the first indicator that you and I noticed of the Yankees' inability to win on the road?
Losing to the Athletics.
No. Well, did they lose to the Athletics on the road? I was thinking when they were swept by the St. Louis Cardinals a few weeks ago.
That's right.
And that was really the first indicator, at least, that I got that this Yankees team is a totally different team on the road than they are at home, because when they went back home, they went on just a barrage of hitting. It was Bader hitting all their lineup guys. They hit really well at home. The Yankees are just a different team on the road right now. So I've heard a lot of people today high on the Angels after sweeping the Yankees. They're like, even this guy Chase Silseth comes up here. Well, Chase Silseth, he's pitched well in the majors all year. Yeah. He's the player that we talked about early in the season. He was a reliever.
That's right.
He transferred from Tennessee to a junior college somewhere out west, I think, before he was drafted. And he only spent like a year or two in the minor leagues. He has really darted up.
And
he's kind of teetering right now where he's going up and down. But that is not indicative of how good he's been for the Angels.
Well, and that's really been kind of the Angels' MO for guys. They seem to go draft older guys that have played college.
2 Tennessee pitchers they have that have darted through their minor
Zach
leagues.
Neto also sped through. So that's 3 guys on the roster right now.
Drafted 2 drafts ago, not this past
2021.
2021. That's right. So. And from the Campbell Camels.
That's right, the Fighting Camels.
So darted up there, too. It's really been unbelievable to see. But I don't think it says too much. If you want to keep saying, well, the Yankees just aren't good on the road right now, that's one thing. Yeah. But a lot of people are taking it to say this is the turning point for the Angels to make a run in the American League. I'm pumping the brakes there. They beat if the Cardinals can sweep the Yankees at home and still be mediocre, so can the Angels be.
Well,
that's what I'm taking out of this series.
I think this winning is worse for the Shohei Ohtani trade talk, because I saw a report today saying that they're still kind of going back and forth on what they want to do, and it could be a decision that comes down in the last 24 hours before the trade deadline on if they decide to trade him or not.
People might blame winning close to a trade deadline as the reason, but I kind of would have been surprised the whole time if they ever dealt Shohei, because they talked about dealing him last year too.
And if you were going to trade him last year, it'd be the year you get way more. Last year, if you're trading him now, you're trading him for 3 months.
It's a tough situation because of how much you have to give up as well.
That's the whole time, and I know we got to be quick because we got to talk to Brett, but this whole time I've been looking at it from the Angels' perspective, and the other day I kind of started looking at it from other teams' perspectives, and you know the Angels are going to want a ton back. I mean, this is a generational player, and I don't know if I'm a lot of teams other than the Dodgers, who I think have a really good shot at signing him in the offseason. I just don't know how willing I'd be to talk trades.
People have said that's where he wants to be too. He likes living in Los Angeles, especially a guy living in different countries. You've grown accustomed to one city. You don't really necessarily want to move it. So it could be the Dodgers. You're right, but like you said, got to give up a lot if you're someone else, and it really shakes up your organization.
2022 draft.
So that's what I thought it was. It was the last draft. Yeah, that's exactly right. So he's darted up there as well. All right, without further ado, enough baseball talk, but that's been fresh on my mind all day. I had to get to it. Let's talk to Brett Norsworthy, live from Nashville at SEC Media Days. Brett, are you there? Do you have us?
You do. I am here, and I am in Nashville at SEC Media Days. Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels making the round. And Jay Morgan, I'm not trying to be the correction guy, but I think the Cardinals only won 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. They split that Saturday doubleheader after Friday night, got washed out. They would have swept if that hadn't gotten pushed into that Saturday game, but I do think they split that day. Y'all could check me. I could be wrong. You know what?
No, now that you say that, you're absolutely right. That's a good point by you. So maybe we could take a little more from the Angels sweeping the Yankees than I originally said, but I think largely the idea still stands.
When we did golf picks, would y'all believe me? That I was really close to picking Cristo Lamprek?
No,
I wouldn't, Brett. Were you actually very close?
Y'all are very smart people. I was not at all close.
What a first round,
I can't fake it. Somebody said Cristo Lamprek early this morning. I said, how dare you talk like that around me?
So like people were cursing around you.
Really.
Well, Brett, we're so glad that you're joining us here today, and obviously a busy day for you with Ole Miss going. A lot of people interested as well in Tennessee. And, only one more team. Let's throw South Carolina in there, too. I'm sure there's a lot of Gamecock fans listening as well. Tell us the fine sponsors that bring you to Nashville for us.
First National Bank and Trust, Jason's Deli, Landers Ford in Collierville, Ronnie Grisani's, The Butcher Shop. All these sponsors will be with us in 3 weeks at FedEx St. Jude Classic. Gould's, The Commissary, Memphis Tourism Sports Council, and Jim's Place Grill. We cannot thank you enough. It does not happen without sponsors. No rain, no rainbow. It's simple. Everybody knows that drill. We've had an all-star list. They'll be back with us all for FedEx St. Jude Classic, regular run schedule on our station. We appreciate it so much.
And since this Ole Miss talk this morning, Lane Kiffin was the first coach to go today. So I want to start off with Ole Miss and kind of the big talk really around this area, and I think around a lot of the SEC footprint, has been Quinshon Judkins and what he could do this season as running back with a year under his belt. And when you kind of look at it, I mean, Quinshon showed last year that he is a really talented running back. But you look at this offensive line, returning a lot of starters from last year's team. It looks like a couple seniors, a junior could get in the mix, and then a pair of sophomores that have experience from last year. How big will this offensive line be to the success of Quinshon Judkins, and I guess in the addition of Jackson Dart still trying to get comfortable back there in the pocket?
It goes hand in glove. We know it up front. You have to have those guys in this very topsy-turvy world of college football. And Lane Kiffin hit it straight on. You know what I've said, Bryant? Jay Morgan, you know it as well. I said you can be the portal king, but you must be in this sport be the chemistry king. And he talked about late last year that it was challenging for them after the heartbreak. I mean, the soul-crushing loss at home against Alabama when it was right there to be had, to be won and didn't get it, and then got smoked at Arkansas and fell behind against Mississippi State in the third quarter, had to rally in the fourth quarter, fell short, and then just ran out of the house at the Texas Bowl. And he said a lot of that was chemistry, some of that was injuries. Quinshon Judkins referred to that. Now, all that's part of it, but you have to have some guys that's been around, some kind of wily vets in your locker room, and Lane Kiffin knows that. He's starting year 4 in Oxford. I don't know how many people would have bet on that the day he was hired, that he would be starting year 4. It was even people that would have bet against it. Last Thanksgiving, he's starting year 4. And for Quinshon Judkins, just like for everyone else, that whether it's Spencer Rattler or KJ Jefferson, if you want to get in the Heisman mix, it's got to be accompanied with team success. It's an individual award scotched in team success. You know, guys, I always talk about how I think baseball is the most individual of team sports. All your individual numbers, and now, I mean, you just can't help but see it when you come to bat. You got all the numbers up there and all the slashes. But in football, to win the ultimate individual award, your team's got to kind of buoy you to that. And for running backs, it's tough sledding out there. Yeah. For running backs, last running back to win the Heisman Trophy was, I think, at Alabama with Derrick Henry. I know with Alabama at Derrick Henry, he was the last one. And Alabama may even had the last 2 running backs with Mark Ingram. So it's just not the running back award that it was in the 70s and 80s, because the sport's not the same as it was in the 70s, 80s. So Quinshon Judkins is not winning a Heisman Trophy on an 8-4 team. He's not doing it on a 9-3 team, and I don't know that he could do it on a 10-2 team without winning one of those big road games at Tuscaloosa and at Athens, and that's pretty daunting. And I just, frankly, I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah.
Brett, 2 defensive players that Coach Kiffin brought with him today, DeAndre Pierce, the cornerback, and Cedric Johnson. Do you think that's indicative of anything, maybe his belief in this defense? Do you think it's just his happenstances of the players he picked? Because I was looking at Phil Steele the past couple days as well, and I don't believe he had an Ole Miss defensive player in his first 3 defensive teams for the conference. So do you think this is indicative of something maybe Coach Kiffin has seen in camp, that he likes this defense in terms of improvement from last season?
Well, he loves both of those guys, and they couldn't be more different. We had DeAndre Prince on with Greg and Eli this morning, and DeAndre, I wouldn't say painfully shy, but takes him a little while to loosen up. And then when he did, it was a lot of fun, and it was fun to visit with him afterwards. And he looked so nice. And I took a picture of him for him to send to his mom. All these guys. I mean, when you think about the big old grizzled world of college football and everybody talking about money, it still comes down to your mama's really, really proud of you. And I took a picture of him for him to send to her. And he's played a lot of football at Ole Miss. I mean, he was a freshman in 2019 and then went junior college and then came back.
Wow.
He had a great interception up at Columbia late on a Saturday night in 2019 when Ole Miss fell just short in a loss to Mizzou. And then there's Cedric Johnson, who may be the smartest guy on the team, a computer science major, and if he wants to, he's gonna be at NASA some days. Or as I told him, I said, Cedric, I try to be really nice to you because as smart as you are, you're probably gonna come back and be the AD someday.
mean, he really could be. That's almost
And
like
I want you to remember I was nice to you.
that's almost like Josh Dobbs when he was at Tennessee and was like aerospace engineer and smartest guy in any room.
Literally a rocket science major.
That's hilarious. One more question about Ole Miss before we get to these two other teams talking today. When you look at this wide receiver group, you lose a big threat in Jonathan Mingo last year, who was drafted in the NFL draft. Who can step up this year and kind of be that number one receiver?
I think it starts by committee, but then we know there's always kind of got to be the lead person in that room. Coming back, Dayton Wade had moments last year, and I'm not saying this to dig at anyone. It's just the way of the world now. It may not be the wide receiver. Yeah. It may be Caden Prescorn at tight end. And if it's not Caden Prescorn at tight end, it could be the tight end room with Michael Trigg. Michael Trigg had trouble staying on the field last year and being consistent. Cedric Johnson's had injury problems as well on the defensive side, and I think that's probably why he didn't make some of the field still tight preseason magazines. But on the offensive side, and maybe even a true freshman coming in that will push for playing time. But Caden Prescorn, we saw the separation he had last year. I don't want to go full Travis Kelce, but he's got a lot of it in him.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to jump ahead now. I got to jump ahead to Tennessee, Brett, because I know you can't see me today, but everybody watching on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all the places you can watch us live, I've got my big orange sweatshirt on today, celebrating the Vols taking the stage. And Coach Josh.
You should. We're going to have Vince Ferraro later today, and I'm going to lobby to him for a coonskin hat.
Oh, that would be great!
All right,
it's Davy Crockett taking the field.
You have that.
Taking the field for the Vols. Well, Coach
Brian, you'd have to find a new residence if you came in with a coonskin hat.
We talk a lot about things that would disown me in the SEC world from my father. That would be the big one. Yes.
Hey, look, I got to bring our listeners in. So in the biography page of the Ole Miss Media Guide, and after COVID, it got a little crazy. They got our years confused, and got my I felt terrible last year that they didn't get Gabe in, and I wanted to because I always want people to know who I work with and how proud I am to work with them. So this year I got Bryant and I got Jay Morgan in, and Jay Morgan, I don't think it'll get you excommunicated, but Bryant, I hope this is the peace offering with your mom for the beer spillage as a small child, and for your dad. Tell him just understand that this is professionalism, and that you hadn't flown the coop.
Yes, they are both going to get a big kick out of that when I'm able to tell them.
But it is Tennessee Day, and Big O really kind of sets the story for UT today, and I think it sets it on the defensive side. I don't think anybody's doubting that Tennessee's going to move the football and score points. I think that's got to be there. If it's not there, then I'm going to look horribly wrong with my preseason predictions. So on the defensive side, get some stops. It's not as much about 3 and outs. It's maybe kind of some 6 and outs. Just have them punt the ball. Y'all know I love that yards rushing statistic, and I feel the slow encroachment back of the run game mattering more from the NFL to college and even down to high school. High school is still really spread out. I think some short sell themselves doing that, trying to go that 5 wide when they would be better going to the wing tee and keeping it really simple at high school. But nevertheless, for football, how it's changed, I love that yards rushing number, but also the big box score nugget, punts. Who punted the most? If you punt the most, you probably lose.
Yeah.
Well, one more thing about Tennessee, Brett, is you mentioned the defense and that aspect, and we know they can score the football. I don't think calling it the Achilles heel is the right characterization. How about the biggest point of adversity for Tennessee? Is it replacing a quarterback? Is it the defense as a whole, or is it something else that I'm not thinking of? What is that biggest piece of adversity?
Starts on defense.
It starts on defense.
It starts on defense for Tennessee. They've got to answer those questions, and Omari Thomas from Briarcrest, it will be incumbent on him to be the leader. They've got to be better up front. It's simple. It's as old as the game itself. You got to get to that quarterback. I'm not going to go full Al Davis because it sounds like that you're kind of talking injuries. But the quarterback's got to go down. Maybe not real hard, but he's got to go down. And you got to get to him, and you got to disrupt him. And by rule, they do not want you touching that quarterback. They don't want the quarterbacks hit. So, okay, so if you really can't get to him and you don't want to say the quarterback must go down hard, get him moving. Get him off his spot. Getting him uncomfortable. And when we talk a lot of Tigers football this fall, and particularly next week when we start talking AAC, I think that's going to be one of the biggest things for Seth. Have him in that cozy, comfortable cocoon of a pocket where he can look for halftime for the second guy even, maybe the third guy even, instead of kind of moving. Then when he does have to move, he can, but you don't want to have him moving too much and then never, ever, ever call a pass play at SMU with him rolling to his left again.
Yeah. Brett, I want to ask you two quick questions. One more just general SEC, the other about South Carolina. The first one, kind of when I'm looking around these teams, especially this year, and kind of looking at their projected starting lineups for this year, you see a lot of Mid-South flavor, a lot of Memphis flavor in those rosters. Two from Tennessee that we just mentioned, Big O, Jabari Smalls, Caden Priestcorn, I know not from here, but played at Memphis. You got Walter Nolan down at Texas A&M. You've got Patrick Kudus at Arkansas. I'm sure I'm missing a couple. How big is this area recruiting or even in the transfer portal with the University of Memphis? How big is this area when it comes to recruiting for the SEC?
It's big. And, Jay Morgan, remember that question for John Varlas on a Friday morning this fall. I know when he joins Greg and Eli and is so great on these airwaves and knows the history of it so well. I contend our football history, our football production of ball players. Now, the raw number of it's so much bigger, too, so it helps. But I think it's just as big as the basketball number. Maybe not the superstar, the big name like a Penny Hardaway or a Bobby Bingo Smith and some others from the Memphis, Shelby County area. But you get out there over the whole area, and then if you want to fudge a little bit and you bring in DeSoto County, it really gets bigger with players from right here in our area. And oddly enough, and I think it's a mistake, and it's got to be rectified. You don't see many, if any, from Ole Miss on a roster from Memphis. There's two big things on the Ole Miss roster that's really different than it used to be: the lack of Memphis players and Louisiana players.
That's interesting, but you're right. Not a lot of Mid-South players on that Ole Miss roster. Last thing for you, I do want to get in a quick question about South Carolina because they'll also be talking today. We hogged all the time with the Rebels and Vols. We got to get some game cards in there. We just got to get at least one question.
We went local, live local and late breaking.
That's right. But you look at this team, and I've really liked watching what Shane Beamer has done in these 2 years. I think we knew it was going to be kind of a long rebuild for him, and it seems like it's going in the right direction. But when you look at some of the numbers from last year, rushing wasn't very good, 105th in the country, and their total defense wasn't very good, in the 80s nationally when it comes to defensive numbers. What's the biggest improvement you want to see for the South Carolina team this year?
Again, kind of that comfy pocket for Spencer Rattler and him to kind of have a plan B where the whole game planning against him is not, hey, stop the quarterback.
Yeah.
He's got to have some run. And maybe that rushing total yards is not as big anymore as attempts.
Yeah.
Even when it's not working, still try it. Stay committed to it and see if it finally ever loosens up. You know, we identify, we stereotype the Kansas City Chiefs naturally because of Patrick Mahomes as pass. But they also, when they have to tuck it and run it and work on that clock a little bit, they can. And in Buffalo in the NFL, they've got to improve on that. And in college with South Carolina, they're going to have to improve on it. But Spencer Rattler got better. He got better last year, and I look forward today. We're going to visit with Bill Gunner. I think in the first hour we're going to have Bill with us from South Carolina to talk this year for the Gamecocks and how they finished last year. The bowl was just a dessert for them. After you beat Tennessee and you beat Clemson, heck, the hangover and the party ran right into the bowl.
Yeah, it really did.
Well, Brett, thank you so much for joining us and all the work you've done all day today and all week in general. Tell us again the great sponsors that allow you to be here with us.
It has been a blast, and thank you is almost not suffice for all our sponsors, but we say thank you and we mean it. First National Bank and Trust, Jason's Deli, Landers Ford in Collierville, Ronnie Grisani's, The Butcher Shop, Gould's, The Commissary, Jim's Place Grill, and Memphis Tourism Sports Council.
Well, Brett, get some rest. Go hear some great things people are saying, and we'll talk to you again at 12:30 with John Harden.
Talk to you later, Brett.
I'm just getting warmed up.
That's right. Talk to you later,
Thanks,
Brett.
Brett.
That's
You got it.
Brett Norsworthy with us live from SEC Media Days. Today's a big day. The
last
Vols,
day.
The last day. That's right. The Vols, the Rebels, and the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah.
And you can hear more of Brett, like I said, at 12:30 with John Harden, and then at 3 o'clock for all 3 hours with Brian Takis and myself on Sports Time this afternoon. Sound good, Brian?
Sounds great.
And what a great time. How about that? When we come back, we are going to handicap some baseball. Back after this.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
They're taking care of business in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance. In other words, they'll pay you $1,000 to do business with them, and you get brand new luxury. You can't beat it. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78 in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch, where customer retention is amazing. There's a reason. They take care of you with a team that's been together for a long time. Whether it's finance or whether it's service, you can't beat them. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis. When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Okay, it's July in Memphis, which means it's hot. Every day seems hotter than the one before, and even after the sun goes down, it's still hot. What to do? Make your way downtown to Bell Tavern. It's the perfect little oasis in the July heat. Not too bright, not too loud, and always nice and cool. This time of year, it's hard to beat an ice-cold beer, and Bell Tavern has those to spare. Add in the best bar food anywhere, the friendly staff, the great atmosphere, and for a minute in Bell Tavern, just for a minute, you might forget that eventually you're going to climb into a car that's hotter than an Easy-Bake Oven.
If finding great hires is burning through your summer hours, then you need Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Hire fast by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
At Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat, it's time to make this the summer sales event you've been hoping for. Take a power trip in 2023 Fiat 500X Pop 4-door all-wheel drive, $27,990 or $408 a month. Dominate in the Beast, 2023 Dodge Charger XST 4-door, we gossip at $30,990 or $458 a month. And rule the road in dependable power 2023 Ram 1500 Tradesman Quad Cab 4x2, $32,990 or $474 a month. And if we don't have it, Gossett can order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
75 months at 6.10 APR, 3,500 down, pop, BP 990492, MSRP 31,355, Charger PH 504,815, MSRP 35,630, Ram PS 55,4620, MSRP 40,460, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Halfway home.
Oh.
Never said that before.
How's it feel? Does it feel
It
good?
feels
to say
good.
that?
I like it. Halfway home with this show, Wolo and Friends, that is. Dave Woloshin not here. He will be back on Monday. It's Brian Dacus and it's Jay Morgan Harder hosting for Dave Woloshin today for the rest of the week, that is. We just talked to Brett Norrisworthy live from SEC Media Days. Brian, have you enjoyed the Media Day festivities?
Oh, I love Media Day. So, yes, I've been really enjoying this week.
Do you have a favorite part that you can pinpoint thus far? I know you enjoyed seeing Eli Drinkowitz on stage.
Oh, man. Him and Clark Lee, soft spot in my heart for both those guys.
Is that right?
That's right.
And I guess you have a lot more to see today, too, because, Josh Heupel hasn't taken
Josh
the
Heupel,
stage yet.
I didn't get to see – I was at the dentist this morning, so I didn't get to see Lane Kiffin, so I've got to go back and hear what Lane had to say.
Certainly.
So, yeah, but no, I really do, and I know a lot of people are different. I really like hearing the coaches talk because I know, we always talk about, people, it's all just, everyone's great and this team's going to win every game they play and, it's all just positive. But I kind of like that. It gets me excited for the season. I don't have any dog in the fight for the SEC, but it just gets me excited for the season.
Well, me too. And that's what the purpose of it is, isn't it? To get us going.
Yeah, I think so.
And we thank so much Brett for being there with us, and we wish him safe travels home tomorrow. But you'll hear him this afternoon at 3:00. So his week is not quite over yet. But we have lots of baseball games to get to, Brian. Like we talked about earlier today. Yesterday was a wild day in baseball. We talked about the Yankees getting swept by the Angels. The Red Sox dropped 2 of 3 to the Oakland Athletics. What do you feel about that, Brian?
I mean, maybe Oakland's back.
Is that right?
Maybe.
I am sick and tired of betting against them and having to sweat out. I had the Red Sox in a parlay yesterday.
The Red Sox have been good since coming out of the break. So
they have not been good since July 17th. Which today's the 19th or today's the 20th.
That's when they started the series against the Athletics.
Sure have. So they haven't been good since then.
Wow.
But
they were good before that.
Yeah, they were good before that. Seeing what other games took place yesterday, maybe any of note that we want to talk about.
Again.
Mariners lost yesterday.
Castillo on the mound.
How about that? What a shame.
Yeah.
Truly. Not one of the ones I wanted to talk about necessarily, though.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, well, thank you for throwing it out there. The Cardinals beat the Marlins yesterday. We talked about that yesterday on Sports Time a little bit, as that was a day game that was going on. Sandy Alcantara gave up the big inning in the first, and the Marlins just couldn't score enough to come back. But that was a close game back and forth.
They made it close late.
They sure did. And then the other game I want to talk about before we get to today's game is the Dodgers and the Orioles. Really a back-and-forth game yesterday, a back-and-forth series, a lot of runs. Julio Urias just gave up way too many runs. He just has not been good. They were talking about, and this, I don't know if this is a sensitive subject to bring up or not, but people were talking about his weight being an issue. He has not adjusted well to the pacing of Major League Baseball with the pitch clock and stuff like that. And people are pointing fairly or unfairly to his weight. Perhaps he's out of shape. I don't know about that. People do that a lot with basketball, talk about guys being out of shape, but that is utter nonsense because you're watching them play 48 minutes of a basketball game. It would be physically impossible for someone running up and down 82 games a year, 48 minutes a night to be out of shape. That's just body types.
Right.
With Urias, I guess with baseball, you can make a bit more of an argument that somebody could or could not be out of shape. Daniel Vogelbach comes to mind. Prince Fielder comes to mind in that regard. So maybe he is out of shape. Maybe that is a factor. But the Orioles won that game 8-5 yesterday, and the Dodgers are reeling a bit. And the Orioles find themselves in first place in the AL East, Bryant.
Yeah. Can I point out one more thing before we get into the games today?
Sure.
Ed Rodriguez pitched last night, got a win against Kansas City. Very close game, 3-2. Just want to point this out. Anybody likes player props?
How many strikeouts he had?
7 strikeouts for a third straight game for Ed Rod.
But the line was probably at 7.5 yesterday.
6.5.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I think so because I saw people tweeting it out, and I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, it was 6.5. I'll check on that.
Wow. That's fascinating if that's true, too. All right, well, let's get to some of the games today. And as usual, we like to go in order of when they start today. And lucky for everybody in our listening audience today is one of the teams in market starts the day today, and that is the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves play a day game at 11:20 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Bally is where you can watch that one. Bally Sports South there. Zach Gallen on the mound with 11 wins against Spencer Strider on the mound with 11 wins.
Two really good pitchers.
Very good pitchers, two very comparable ERAs. Zach Gallen probably the favorite right now, although we have to talk about a National League pitcher that might be rivaling him for a favorite for the Cy Young. Lots of things to look at here. Zach Gallen has a 1.48 ERA at home, but they're on the road today where he has a 5.11 ERA. I don't always like home road splits in ERAs, and here's why. His last 5 outings, Zach Gallen's been pretty good. 3 earned runs the first 5 his last outing against Toronto on the road. At home against Pittsburgh, 1 earned run. On the road against the Angels, 4 earned in the first 5. 4 earned against Tampa in the first 5, and 1 earned at Milwaukee in the first 5 there. So he's been pretty good, even road home splits there his last 5 outings. Spencer Strider, on the other hand, Zach Gallen, June 4th against Atlanta. He had 6 innings pitched. He gave up 9 hits and 3 runs in that outing. So a very recent outing against Atlanta. Spencer Strider, on the other hand, his last outing, he gave up 4 runs in 5 innings. 5 earned total his last outing. That was at home against the White Sox. His last outing, I think because of that he shoves today. There's no way he comes out bad 2 games in a row. I like the under. Here's what I have. First 5. Remember, I work on a line from 3 question marks
to 3 stars.
To 3 stars, okay? So 3 question marks.
But it could be more than that if we ever get to that point.
I've got 1 question mark on a Nerfy, minus 115.
I was just about to ask you, am I a sucker for wanting to take the Nerfy?
And then I have 2 question marks on the under 4.5 in the first 5. And the under 8.5, which
also
is
makes
plus
me feel
100.
like a sucker.
Two question marks there. Arizona team total under 3.5 I kind of like because I'm definitely confident in Strider. Zach Gallen, while he's been really good, in terms of these betting numbers we have, has kind of been up and down. He'll have like a 1 earned run outing and then like a 3 or 4 earned run outing. And so these numbers that we're dealing with, like the 4.5 and stuff like that, makes it very difficult to bet this. So maybe the Arizona team total under 3.5 is good. And then how about this? Ozzie Albies is in 510 at-bats against Zach Gallen. Maybe he gets over 1.5 bases today at plus 105. But let's stick strictly first with the Nerfy, the under, and the Arizona team total under. Do you like any of those, Bryant?
I mean, the first one I was looking at was the Nerfy, but then I said this seems like a sucker bet.
It's the first game of the day. I like betting a Yerfy or Nerfy in the first game of the day, so I'm good with the Nerfy there, and I only have 1 question mark next to it. I like it good enough. I like Spencer Strider to shove today, and Zach Gallen is the front runner for the Cy Young for me, so let's take a Nerfy there. In terms of over or under, oh man, this is tough.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, because the thing
why is it 4.5? There's another game later where the total's set at 3.5.
Who are the pitchers in that one?
You would think this would be the 3.5 game. The 3.5 game is Twins Mariners. It's Pablo Lopez and George Kirby.
Interesting. Well, but neither of those teams can hit the ball, so.
there, which is also a factor, whereas the Braves have the most first-inning runs of any team in baseball.
Yeah, and the D-backs can hit.
So
it's just kind of up and down.
I think take a Nerfy today.
I like the Nerfy.
You know, we don't always like betting against the Braves with the Yerfy or Nerfy because they just make us pay so much for it, but I think it's the play today.
And they, like you just said, they score the most runs in the first inning. It's so scary to bet them one way or the other.
And you know what? I don't always like doing this either, but I think I'm going to take...
Double unit Yerfy and Nerfy?
No. I think I'm going to take the under 4.5 and the under...
You're going to go clean sweep?
Man, because I'm debating the team total under 3.5.
I just don't know because I don't know. I mean, what happens when Spencer Strider goes 7 innings? What happens after that?
I don't know. Their bullpen is not very good. You're right. So let's go Nerfy minus 115, and let's go first 5 under 4.5, and those would be our two plays for the D-backs and Braves. Maybe something on that player prop. I didn't go through and actually do what I want to do for player props there, but Albie's
first time I've heard you bring up a player prop.
Albie's over 1.5 bases could be a good one there in that game. Next game is Giants and the Reds.
Okay.
Let's start with Alex Cobb for the Giants.
Cobb.
Who has a 6-2 record, 4.15 road ERA. I really don't like home road splits. He's got a 2.82 ERA on the year. 4.15 on the road is probably pretty misleading. He shoved. Wow, you hear that?
Nice calling.
Someone is calling.
That means the phones are working.
That means the phones are working.
That's beautiful.
How about that? Wow. What news here?
Wow.
Late breaking news here. Phones are working. Anyway, Giants, Reds here. Alex Cobb, a 2.82 ERA on the year, 4.15 road ERA. He shoved his last outing at Pittsburgh. And the outing before that against the Mariners. So I was reading my writing here. I was struggling. So his last 2 outings, Alex Cobb has been really good. 1 earned run in the second inning at Pittsburgh. No earned runs through the first 5 against Seattle. Those are his last 2. He allowed 3 earned runs on the road to the Mets before that. 2 earned runs in the first inning at St. Louis, and he only made it 4 innings in that one. Only 2 earned runs overall. We're not even going to include Colorado. Andrew Abbott had a great June. He's got a 4.5 ERA in July. Andrew Abbott is the fellow that was called up in June, and he immediately was unbelievable. July, he struggled a bit. However, the Giants, I think, to not be able to hit is a better bet than Andrew Abbott to continue struggling. The Giants aren't not very good, and the wind is blowing out today, too. This game, plus 18% chance of runs, the most of any game today, plus 34% chance for a home run, the most of any game today. I like the Reds' first 5 money line. I think that's the most confident. Or maybe the Reds' first 5 minus a half a run. The money line is minus 120, minus half a run, so giving up the tie is plus 115. Might be worth it for plus money there. And over 5 runs is plus 100 in these first 5 innings. I like those 2 bets right there. What do you think about that?
I like that. How does this sway you anyway, or make you feel more confident in your bet? The fact that in day games, Alex Cobb is 1-2 with a 4.42 ERA.
No, because that's not a large enough sample size to sway me no matter
7
what.
7 games.
0-2.
1-2.
1-2 in 7 games. 4.42 ERA. Well, that makes me more confident in that over at 5. Basically, I'm taking 2 plus money bets here. Reds first 5 minus half a run at plus 115, and first 5 over 5 runs at even money. Essentially, just if I go 500 there, I'm either making a little bit or literally breaking exactly even. And like we said, we like the numbers to maybe hit both of those. So I like those 2 bets right there. We got to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to do more baseball games.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Attention, everyone. Family Leisure needs your help clearing out their inventory. Let me say that again. Family Leisure is needing your help to clear out their inventory. And to do so, there are tons of great deals throughout the store. For example, all do-it-yourself pools are $1,000 off. Special 24-foot round pools for less than $2,000. Select play gyms, only $18.99. Hey, if you need patio furniture, they have patio furniture that's now up to 30% off. Spas are in stock. They're up to $1,200 off. Now listen up, because I'm only going to say this once. 24 months, same as cash financing, is now available through this sale. Family Leisure needs your help clearing out their inventory, so come and do your part at Family Leisure. Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Save up to $300 on a new energy-efficient tanked or tankless water heater from Conway Services. Upgrade your old, inefficient water heater with a new energy-efficient model. Or better yet, a tankless unit, so you're only heating the water you need and you never run out. Visit ConwayServices.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on eating out, fuel costs, and replacing expensive grills that cannot stand up to the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with cook temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Sportage P718, 2870, MSRP 28185, Seltos R752, 4361, MSRP 26015, Forte PG 211771, MSRP 21910, includes all rebates and incentives, plus finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 7/31/23. Dealer stock only. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear things are heating up over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
It's the hottest pricing we've ever had, Randy. 2023 Kia Forte gets 41 MPG highway at only $259 a month, $27.99 do-it signing, and a 2023 Sportage Vacation Ready at $308 a month, $34.99 do-it signing, both 36-month lease.
And how about the new 2024 Seltos LX?
$295 a month with $29.99 do-it signing and 24-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty to boot.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Just the way it is. Some things will never change.
Moving right along with games here today on the baseball slate. Brewers and Phillies. Corbin Burns on the mound today against Taijuan Walker, Bryant. And Taijuan Walker had a really good June, winning a lot of games. He did. 11 wins on the year, but let's start with the road team, the Brewers with Corbin Burns. He has also had an excellent July, a 1.89 ERA. If I go through his last few outings here, again, he's going 6 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings, 6 innings through some of these, but in his first 5 innings, I see 0 earned runs at Cincinnati, 2 earned runs at home against Cincinnati, none on the road at Pittsburgh, 1 at Cleveland. He had allowed 7 against Arizona. That's quite a bit. And 2 at Minnesota. The Twins can't hit, we say 2. But overall, Corbin Burns has been really, really good his last few outings. Taijuan Walker, 5-0 at home right now.
That's incredible.
He went, I can't read what I wrote there. But he had... I'm sorry. 5-0 at home in 8 starts, 8 S, but my S's look like 5, so I'm like 85. What am I writing here? 8 starts. In 8 starts in that span, a 2.30 ERA at home, so he's been really good at home. And again, I don't love road home splits. 20% home run percentage increase here today. That's a 9% increase in runs possibly
Ball's
there.
gonna be flying out of the park.
So we'll see what's going to happen here. I like between these two pitchers a no-run first inning is my favorite bet here. This is a 3 question mark play, and over 4.5 in the first 5 is minus 120, and an over 8.5 for the game is minus 115. That's 2 question marks there. I really like the Nerfy, and in terms of going over, it's really just kind of betting on the bats to be awake today. I guess just hitting against Corbin Burns. I really don't know what to expect here. I'm more confident in the no-run first inning than I don't know after that. What do you think?
No, I like the first 5, the no runs first inning. I mean, both these guys are really, really good pitchers. So, I guess I like that.
Man, I'm having trouble figuring it out here.
This might be a game I
How about
I pass
this one?
on.
Here's my favorite one here. How about a good bet for you here? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is all about having good bets. I have to pull it up here. MLB Network or MLB.com does these matchups every day for how a guy does versus certain pitchers. How about this one for you? Against Corbin Burns in his career, Trey Turner in 7 at-bats is hitting .571. Not a huge sample size. That basically just means he's 4 for 7.
Yeah.
How about over 1.5 bases for him as plus money today?
Okay.
That could be a good player prop to kind of go along with the Albies one. He's a guy that could get a hit today.
Trey Turner?
Trey Turner. That's really the only other thing I like in this game. This might be one to stay away from a little bit. Let's do I'm going to skip ahead some of these day games here because we only have a couple of minutes, and I want to make sure we do the Cardinals game last. But here's a game I really enjoyed handicapping this morning. It's the Tigers and the Royals. Maybe not a game that a ton of people care about, but this one's really weird. Weather in this game, Bryant, remember we looked at earlier, this has the second best odds today according to Ballpark Pal for runs, plus 12% chance for runs. That's a whole run increase. Wow. However, the wind is blowing in a little bit where there's a 21% chance there's not a home run in the game, 21% less likelihood of a home run, but 21% better chance for there to be a hit in the game.
Interesting.
So kind of goes back and forth. So more hits, but less likelihood for home runs. How about this? Michael Lorenzen going for Detroit and Zach Greinke going for Kansas City. Michael Lorenzen has not allowed a run in last 11.2 innings pitched. That's in July alone. So 2 outings in July, hadn't allowed a run in July. But those are against Oakland and Seattle, so maybe a grain of salt there. Yeah. But he seems to pitch really well against teams that don't hit the ball well and don't score, Michael Lorenzen has. That's consistent through the whole year. Sure. Zach Greinke, on the other hand, he's actually been pretty good at home. Certainly better at home than he is on the road. 1 run at home when he played Detroit in May. That was exactly the same situation as we have here. So he's already pitched against Detroit once this year. I like a Nerfy in this one. That's a 1 question mark. Detroit, first 5 minus half a run.
Okay.
Kansas City is a team under 4.5 runs. The under 9. First 5 under 4.5. That's 3 question marks. A lot of unders for these two bad teams, but maybe they just don't hit the ball well.
Maybe.
What do you think, Bryant?
Just get choked up
thinking about this game.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of look at the last couple results, been low scoring. I remember when Scooball came back, his first couple games against different teams, he was pitching really well. He just couldn't score any runs, very low scoring. So I don't really have much faith in either of these offenses to produce runs, the Tigers or the Royals. So I do like some unders in this game.
What do you think? Kansas City under 4.5. That one might be more confident in than the Arizona one. I'm betting on the Royals.
You're betting on the Lorenzen to pitch well and the Royals to not hit.
What about the Nerfy? Nerfy's a little bit scary here because these guys have propensity to give up so many runs.
Yes. And my thing is, we've written down Nerfy for
two games.
2 games now?
Literally the only games I have it for, though.
Okay, so that makes me feel a bit. I know we talked about him for other games. I feel like we've said Nerfy a lot today.
So, oh man, under 4.5 is so low for the first 5.
That is low.
Under 9 for the game makes me feel better.
I kind of like that under 9.
And I would have to take Detroit minus half a run in the first 5 then to counter kind of all this. Because that's a plus money bet you can get there.
Yeah.
This is a tough game. I liked handicapping this one, though. Maybe because generally when I write a lot down, I get excited about it. But I write a lot down because I'm very indecisive with what to do with this game. This one could go either way.
It's good to get out a lot of bets and then talk them out.
Real quick, Cardinals-Cubs here. We don't have time for this. Steven Matz on the mound. All you need to know about Steven Matz is he stinks. And the Cubs are the 10th best team in Major League Baseball, 10th best OPS against left-handed pitching. They hit left-handed pitching well. Stroman on the mound for the Cubs, he's been good. Tell you what, though, Cardinals hit Stroman really well. Goldie, in 24 at-bats, is hitting .375 against him with 3 home runs. In 24 at-bats, Goldie has 3 home runs against him. Maybe an over 4.5 in this one. We know Matz is bad, and that's just one player. If I go through Gorman, I go through Brendan Donovan, I go through all these players, everybody hits Stroman well on the Cardinals. I don't know what it is, but they all do. So if I go down the list here, over 4.5, over 8.5. Yes run first inning is plus money. And then you got the Cubs on the money line for the game, minus 120. Cubs first 5 minus half a run is plus 110. Anything stick out to you here?
I like the over 4.5 first 5 because you're betting on, one, the Cardinals hitting Stroman well, but also just Steven Matz not being good.
Over 8.5 for the game do anything for you? You don't want to take both of those.
No,
you want to pick one or another.
I like that as well. I just think I like the first 5 more.
What about yes run first inning? Too much of a gamble for you?
I don't like. I don't get confident with the yes runs first inning.
You like no more than yes.
Yeah.
What about Cubs money line? Cardinals are on a little bit of a win streak. It could end here. Matz hasn't won a game all year. They have won games Matz has pitched, but he has not won a game.
Yeah, it feels like this might be where it, they get a loss.
I agree. I think they'll lose this series, maybe even get swept in this series as a whole. You got Flaherty going tomorrow. He'll go against Steele, and Justin Steele for the Cubs has been really good.
Yeah, that's what I like. Also, Jose Quintana making his season debut today.
First start today for the Mets. I might like to take the Mets minus 1.5 there. Maybe take a yes run first inning. Just expect both of these guys. Michael Kopech for the White Sox, who didn't even make it through an inning against the Braves his last start. Maybe both these guys get lit up today. Happy Hour with Johnny Radio next. I'm sure he'll be talking more gambling.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch.